Welcome to Mochi English. I'm your host Sam, and today we're going to take you through a real-life job interview, from preparation to the final questions, so you can experience what it's like to go through this process. I've been looking for a new job for a while now, and I finally got an invitation to interview at a company called Green Tech, which is a startup that focuses on developing sustainable energy solutions, so I'm really excited about this opportunity. As I walk into the office building, I can see that it's a modern space with a lot of natural light, and there are plants everywhere, which I think is a great touch. It immediately gives me a sense of the company culture and values. I take the elevator to the third floor, where the Green Tech office is located, and as I step out, I'm greeted by a friendly receptionist who offers me a glass of water and asks me to take a seat. She tells me that the person I'm supposed to meet will be with me shortly. While I wait, I take a look around the office. It's an open space with different workstations, and I can see people typing away on their laptops or chatting with each other. It seems like a very collaborative environment. On the walls, there are posters and diagrams that explain the company's mission and values, and I see words like innovation, teamwork, and sustainability, which all sound very appealing to me. I also notice that there are a few awards and certificates on display, which suggests that the company has been recognized for its work in the industry. This is definitely a good sign. After a few minutes, a woman comes out to greet me. She introduces herself as Emily, the HR manager, and she leads me to a conference room where we'll be having the interview. As we walk, she asks me how my day is going so far, and we chat a bit about the weather. It's a nice way to break the ice. As we sit down, Emily explains that the interview will be in two parts. First, we'll be talking about the company and the role I'm applying for, and then we'll move on to some more general questions about my experience and qualifications. She tells me that the company is looking for someone who is not only skilled and knowledgeable but also passionate about sustainable energy, and who is willing to learn and grow with the company. This sounds like a great fit for me, and I'm getting more and more excited about the opportunity. Emily starts by telling me a bit more about the company history and how it was founded by a group of entrepreneurs who wanted to make a positive impact on the environment. She explains that the company has grown rapidly over the past few years and is now working on some really innovative projects. I listen intently, trying to absorb as much information as possible, and I start to think about how my own skills and experience might fit in with the company's goals and values. This is definitely a company that I would be proud to work for. As Emily continues to talk, I start to feel more and more at ease. The atmosphere is relaxed and friendly, and I'm starting to get a sense of what it might be like to work here. I'm looking forward to learning more about the role and how I can contribute to the company's mission. Now, Emily smiles and says it's time to get started with the interview. She gestures to a nearby table with two chairs and a notepad, and asks me to take a seat. As we sit down, she explains that the interview will be a conversation, and that she wants to get to know me and understand my qualifications and experiences. She begins by asking me to tell her a little bit about myself and how I became interested in this role. I take a deep breath and launch into a brief summary of my education and work experience, trying to highlight the skills and qualities that I think would be most relevant to the position. Emily listens attentively, nodding along and making supportive noises as I speak, which helps me to feel more confident and at ease. After I finish, she asks me some follow-up questions, probing for more details about my previous jobs and how they've prepared me for this role. I'm happy to share some specific examples and anecdotes, and Emily seems to be taking careful notes as I speak. As the conversation flows, I start to feel like I'm having a discussion with a colleague, rather than being grilled in a formal interview. The questions are thoughtful and insightful, and I'm enjoying the opportunity to share my thoughts and ideas. Emily's demeanor is warm and engaging, and I can tell that she's genuinely interested in getting to know me and understanding my fit with the company. A little later, she leans forward and asks me about my long-term career goals and how I see myself growing and developing in this role. I appreciate the chance to think about my aspirations and how they align with the company's vision, and I'm excited to share my thoughts with Emily. As I respond, I can see her nodding along, and I sense that we're having a meaningful connection, one that goes beyond just the job description. Now, Emily leans forward, her eyes sparkling with interest, and asks me to walk her through my qualifications, to tell her about the skills and experiences that make me a strong fit for this position. I take a deep breath, feeling a sense of confidence wash over me, and begin to share my story. I explain how my background in marketing has given me a unique perspective on the industry, and how my experience working with cross-functional teams has taught me the importance of collaboration and effective communication. I highlight my achievements, from successfully launching new product lines to developing and implementing social media campaigns that have driven significant engagement and sales. As I speak, I can see Emily's expression change, her nodding becoming more pronounced, and I sense that she's genuinely impressed by my credentials. A little later, she interrupts me, not to cut me off, but to ask a thoughtful question, one that shows she's been paying close attention to what I've been saying. She asks me to elaborate on a particular project I mentioned, to tell her more about the challenges I faced and how I overcame them. I launch into a detailed explanation, sharing my thought process, my decision-making, and the outcomes, and as I do, I can feel my passion for the work shining through. Meanwhile, Emily is scribbling some notes on her pad, her brow furrowed in concentration, and I wonder what she's thinking, whether I'm meeting her expectations, and what the next question will be. After I finish speaking, there's a brief pause, a moment of silence, before Emily looks up, a small smile playing on her lips, and says, "That's really impressive, I must say. I can see why you're so proud of that achievement." Her words give me a boost, and I feel my confidence growing, as I realize that I'm not just applying for a job, I'm building a connection with someone who could potentially be my future colleague, or even my manager. As the conversation continues, I start to feel more and more at ease, like I'm having a discussion with someone who genuinely wants to get to know me, rather than just ticking boxes on a checklist. The atmosphere in the room shifts, becoming more relaxed, more conversational, and I find myself opening up, sharing more about my experiences, my interests, and my goals. Emily listens attentively, asking insightful questions, and making thoughtful comments, and I start to feel like I've found a kindred spirit, someone who understands me, and what I bring to the table. As we talk, I realize that this interview is not just about the job, it's about finding the right fit, the right culture, and the right people, and I start to feel a sense of excitement, a sense of possibility that I hadn't felt before. As we wrap up our conversation, the interviewer smiles and says, "Well, I think that's all the questions I had for now, but before we finish, is there anything you'd like to ask me?" I take a deep breath, thinking about all the things I've learned so far, and ask, "Actually, yes, can you tell me more about the team I'll be working with, and what a typical day looks like in this role?" The interviewer's face lights up, and she launches into a detailed description of the team's dynamics, their current projects, and the skills they're looking for in a new team member. I listen intently, taking mental notes, and feeling more and more confident that this is a team I'd love to join. As she finishes her explanation, the interviewer glances at her watch and says, "I'm so sorry, but I think we've run a bit over time. Do you have any other questions, or is there anything else you'd like to add?" I think for a moment, and then ask, "What are the next steps in the process, and when can I expect to hear back from you?" The interviewer nods, and says, "We'll be in touch within the next week to let you know our decision. We're looking to move quickly on this hire, so you should hear from us soon." I smile, feeling a sense of relief, and say, "That sounds great, thank you so much for your time today, and for sharing so much about the company and the role." The interviewer stands up, and I follow suit, shaking her hand again, and thanking her once more. As we walk out of the conference room, she shows me back to the reception area, and says, "We'll be in touch soon, and I wish you all the best." I smile, and thank her again, feeling a sense of hope, and a sense of excitement about the possibility of joining this company. As I walk out of the building, I take a deep breath, feeling a sense of pride, and a sense of accomplishment, knowing that I've given it my all, and that I've found a company that truly aligns with my values and my goals. I feel a sense of anticipation, wondering what the future holds, and whether this is the start of a new chapter in my career. Before we go, let's review the new words we learned today. First, collaborative. Collaborative means working together. Next, sustainability. Sustainability means using resources carefully. Then, entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs means people starting businesses. Another one, innovative. Innovative means new and creative ideas. And finally, aspirations. Aspirations means big life goals. Great job today. Try to use these words this week. Thanks for learning with Mochi English. See you next time.